Welcome into another episode of Let's Talk. We are now on to our third show, having all kinds of fun. And as always, I'm your host, Chad Landers. Looking forward to the show I have for you today. We'll get to our first guest in just a minute, but first, here's what's on my mind. It feels like fall sports season just beginning here, but if you look at the schedule, we are more than halfway through the season. Yeah, the playoffs will be here in early October. LL Golf actually already having their tournament this week. Field hockey, as well as boys and girls soccer, will hold their league tournaments starting October 14th. The league cross-country meet is October 17th at Ephrata, and then girls volleyball hits the court on October 20th. The teams to keep an eye on here, I believe, Ephrata boys soccer, the #1 team in Quad A in the district. The last time I checked, CV girls soccer hanging in there at #4 in their rankings, and E-Town, Hempfield, and Warwick all at the top of the Quad A girls volleyball rankings. So definitely keep an eye on that going forward. All right, let's get this show rolling. The trend of having football coaches on the show does continue. I'm talking to one of the longest tenured football coaches in the LL League. It's Bob Locker of the Warwick Warriors. Coming up after the break, I'll sit down with the gridiron leader in Linnets, who has some big changes to discuss. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we're back here with Warwick's head football coach, Bob Locker, and we're going to just get right to it, Coach. Midway through the season here, you guys are coming off what I would describe as a disappointing loss for you against Wilson. So can you just kind of talk to us about what happened in that game and, you know, evaluate kind of how things went?
We did very little to help ourselves early on. Too many penalties, we missed some open receivers, and we didn't, you know, the first quarter we had an opportunity to be up, I thought 14-0. Like I said, we missed some open receivers, and you can't do that. Our drives were just stunted because we get a first down and that penalty, 1st and 15.
Yeah.
And against a team like Wilson, 1st and 15 is difficult. You either come out throwing on 3 downs, or you got to establish the run and get 5 a clip. We averaged over 4 yards a rush against them, which is fantastic, but we just put ourselves in a difficult situation. And then all of a sudden we were playing from behind, and everything changes then.
Every year, everyone's like, well, is this the year that Wilson loses a game in the section? And then were you feeling like this year potentially you guys could have taken one away from them, or how was the feeling on that?
Absolutely. We didn't go in there thinking like we're looking for any moral victories. And if you examine the game, if we tackle better and limit them a little bit more and make fewer mistakes offensively, we had 445 yards offense.
That's a lot. Yeah.
You're supposed to win football games, but it's a team effort, so we got to shore up the mistakes on offense. The penalties got to go, and we need to continue to work on tackling.
Okay, and that brings me to my next question, which I really don't want to ask you this, but I have to. You suffered an injury at quarterback with Grayson Klein, right? And it sounds like he's not going to play the rest of the year, which is a real bummer for you guys. Evaluate your quarterback situation right now and kind of how you're feeling after what happened.
Above all else, I feel really bad for the kid as a human being. Played football since he's a little kid, and there's a whole bunch of them. And the last thing you want to see, is a kid miss this much of his senior season, and his recovery is going to be very long. And we just pray for him and hope that he turns out for the best long term. From a football point of view, 4 games in, he had over 1,000 yards passing. We'd kind of become a different kind of an offense, to be quite honest with you. We became more of a pocket passing team. We had the wideouts to do that. At times when we were clicking, we were pretty good at it. Now, Adam Ricketts is fully capable of taking us good places. We're going to have to change who we are a little bit. We'll tweak what we do, take advantage of his strengths. He's very athletic, so we just have to be upbeat. And he's taken reps all year long. I mean, he went in the Central game and led a good drive, so we're not fearful in terms of, we have no quarterback to go to. It's not like in some years when we honestly hear, we've lost a starter.
Right.
You go back to Darren Thompson, the reason we ran Wildcat is because we burned 2 quarterbacks in a week. So we have a quarterback who can play, and we got a backup now. Gerhardt's a good-looking sophomore. It's just that, they were both behind somebody who was a good high school quarterback.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today as I was coming here. It's kind of a whirlwind. You get this prototypical quarterback transfers in, all the hype, you guys are excited, your offense is clicking, he's one of the top passers, and then just whoosh, it's over. I mean, that had to have been such a blow to your sales.
Yeah, I just got to make sure that the kids are okay with it, because you know what? You are not 80 deep like Wilson, and one of the big differences is in any 2 years, like you reflect back, last year we stayed amazingly healthy as a football team.
Yeah.
This year not so much. Ryan Long, Jacob McCracken, 2 ACLs before we even start the season. Now Grayson's out. We're not sure about Rissa's status right now. So, you know, we're going to find out who we are. Some kids are going to have to start stepping up, and we're going to find out in practice and this coming Friday, you know, where we're at.
Right, and so, you know, looking forward, I know football coaches don't like to look too far forward, but you're about halfway through the season, and obviously one of the goals is to get back to the playoffs like you did last year, because that was such a great accomplishment for you guys. What is the forecast for this Warwick team? What does it take to get you kind of through the end of this season, this regular schedule, and then potentially a game in the playoffs?
Better defensive football team, tackle better. We got to clean up our special teams. You can't give off a kick return like that. You can't have bad snap punts. We had an opportunity to come out here yesterday and spend a good 35 minutes on special teams. It's got to get cleaned up immediately, and we're going to have to figure out exactly who we are offensively and figure out a way to put points on the board. But we just got to clean stuff up. We still have potential for a great season, and I hope the kids understand that.
Okay, well, I'm glad you gave us some time for this. I know it was probably something that you weren't really excited to talk about after that loss, but we really do appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
I really do
Always
appreciate
welcome.
you coming on out. And that's going to do it here with our talk with Coach Locker. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and move on with another local athlete who is really making a difference on the soccer pitch. We are back on Let's Talk, and joining me now, a young man that has been dominating the soccer field around the LL League for 3 years now. It is senior captain for the Ephrata Mounts, Andre Petrushev. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you're not sure what you're in for, but it'll be fun.
I guess, yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You guys are off to a really good start this season. Why don't you tell us, you know, what that's been like for you, and are you guys having any fun this season?
It's been really fun. Our attack is like really good, and like we have one of the hardest working teams we ever had. We went behind, I think, 3 games this season. We came back in each game. So
now, when you start the beginning of the season, coach usually likes to talk to you and tell you kind of what you're shooting for. Have you guys talked about goals? What are you guys shooting for this season? What would be a great season for you guys?
I mean, of course we're gonna try like going for the section title, but like anything after that, like leagues, districts, maybe making it to states would be like a plus.
Okay, and you, we just talked about it before we came on here, 3 years on the squad, and have been just the guy up front that they've really been trying to get the ball to and scoring. What was that like playing as a young guy, and now you're kind of the veteran? What has that been like for you?
I mean, at first, like I didn't have as much confidence with the ball. I passed it a little more. But now I have more confidence in my ability to like dribble past people, shoot, make good passes, and yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk to you about. You know, every soccer player kind of has that origin story when they were younger. If we go all the way back to little Andre, where did that start? Where did you start to get into soccer?
Ever since like I can remember, I'd be playing soccer in my backyard with like my 5 brothers and like bunch of cousins, and grew up playing at these soccer fields with friends and everything.
Now, did you always play at the forward position, or were you at another position? How did that go?
I mean, I started out in the forward position, and then I moved to like midfield, which I still stayed up. And then I think it was when I was 12, the team I played on, they put me back at sweeper for like 2 years, and I think at least like once a game I would always try like dribbling up on offense, and yeah.
That coach, wasting your talents on the defense. And speaking of your talent, I mean, when we watch you play, you always are getting open, getting by the defense, these really nice moves up front to get those goals. When did you start to develop that, and when did you start to really have some confidence that, man, I can score against any team that I'm out on the field?
I mean, last couple years during the summer, I would go to like the soccer fields to practice on my like ball control, shooting, mostly free kicks, because like I'd watch YouTube videos of like the free kickers, and they would just like shoot free kicks, and I thought that was cool.
We definitely saw one of those the other day. What was it, like off the wall? Did you try that?
I mean, I saw the goalie. He was like to the left side of the goal, so I wanted to shoot it far post. And from my angle, it looked like it was going in, but it deflected off one of their defenders and went in, so that's all that matters.
It was cool. We liked it a lot. Coach Deininger, what's that like playing with him? He's been around for a while, right?
Yeah, he's really experienced. He knows how to like communicate with us, and like he trusts our ability to like figure out what to do with the ball.
Cool. Do you have, of all the 3 years you've played at the high school level, do you have a favorite team that you played on? Does one stand out above the rest?
I mean, last year I think we had like more skill than the other 2 years, but like this year I think we have the most hardworking team.
Nice. Great answer. Coach is going to be happy with that one. All right, cool. So we've had some serious questions. Let's have a little bit of fun. It's a new thing I'm going to try here. 5 fast questions, and you're super fast, so this shouldn't be hard for you, but this is a good one. Number 1, who wins in a foot race, you or Aaron Cummings?
On the field, I think it would be a tie, but on the track, Aaron.
He's really fast. Yeah, we'd love to see him maybe like actually on the track team or maybe like a wide receiver. Number 2, what kind of game day rituals do you have? Is there anything special you like to do on game day?
Not really, honestly.
No superstitions? You don't wear the same socks every time?
Nah.
None of that? All right, here's an easier one. Number 3, favorite maybe athlete or a soccer player that you've liked, you know, that maybe you model your game after?
Ronaldinho. He was always my favorite growing up.
Okay, and that's going back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe you would say like Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi or something, but no, it's Ronaldinho.
Messi would be second.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, you guys have a lot of similarities with all the goal-scoring potential. Number 4, who do you feel like Ephrata's, you know, big rival on the soccer field is? Is there that one team that you guys really love to play and beat?
Calico, like all Ephrata teams, they always work hard against us, and it's always a good battle.
All right, last one, number 5. Do you have a favorite memory from your years of playing soccer so far? One that really stands out, that went above and beyond, maybe that you really cherish?
I think I have 2. One, when it was my first game ever playing for like Ephrata, which was like club ball. We played Calico, and I think we won 14-0. I scored 4, my brother scored 6, and one of my cousins scored 2. And then my other favorite memory is last year beating Chambersburg in PKs.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that one's more of a recent one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, from one soccer player I played about 10 years, but nowhere near the level you did to another. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having
Have
me.
some fun. Good luck the rest of the season. Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on you guys, and hopefully we'll see you go a little bit further in the playoffs. That'd be fun.
Yep. Thanks.
Awesome. Cool. All right, Andrei Petrushev, we've got to take a break. We'll step aside. When we come back, we're heading back into the studio. We'll have a little fun there, but stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Let's Talk. We are in the final segment here, and I'm joined by Bruce Morgan of the Lidditz Record. So thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Chad.
Yeah, appreciate it. Wanted to get your knowledge of the local sports scene, and really, I think what we should do before we get to the topics is remind the viewers, and myself really, how many years have you been covering Lancaster Limited League sports?
It'll be 28 in November.
28 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Time flies.
How did everything start for you?
Started in November of '89. I was working for a paper in Quarryville, actually,
Okay.
and you know, they offered me a position here, and I was, you know, the opportunity to work for you know, in an organization owned by LNP was very appealing, and so here I am, and I'm glad I made the move.
Cool. All right, and so kind of what you get to do is cover 2 schools, right? It's Warwick and it's Manheim Central.
Right.
How long has it been that for you?
Since 2004, the year after they won the state championship, we
just the year
we picked them
after.
up. Yep.
That's a
yep.
bummer.
Yep.
All right. So you cover a lot, and we see you everywhere. How do you go about choosing what you're going to do on a daily basis? You know, some days it's Warwick, some days it's Manheim. I'm sure maybe you do both in a day. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, you know, we try to, our deadline is Tuesday is our deadline. So generally we try to look at the games at the beginning of the week, the more recent games, as being games that we'll pay more attention to. We just try to look for good matchups. We try to get out to as many of the sports as we can. So we look for, you know, those showdowns. You know, if teams are in first place and they're playing a contender, we'll look at games like that.
Cool. And so some of the main focus that you have, as do we during the fall, are the two football teams.
Right.
You get to cover Manheim Central. You get to cover Warwick this year. A lot of fun with that because they've actually been playing some really fun games.
Yeah.
And they played each other early in the season. So why don't we start with Manheim Central? What are they, like four or so weeks in? Why don't you give us your thoughts on kind of what you've seen from Manheim Central football?
Yeah, I mean, last Friday night was probably, really to me, they've had two tests this season from Warwick and Lampeter Strasburg.
Okay.
The 2 games in between, you can't really gauge a lot because they really handled West York and Donald pretty easily. It seems like they're doing a good job with their rushing defense. They held LS to 83 yards rushing, and Warwick, I think, was held under 100 yards rushing as well in week 1. So this Friday night against Cocalico will really tell a lot too, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Obviously that's the huge rivalry game for them. We always circle that on the calendar, and obviously we'll have it on TV. But what's the outlook for Manheim Central this season? Can they run the table? Do they win the section title? Do they get back to the district title game? How's it shake out potentially for Manheim Central?
Yeah, I think Cocalico. If Cocalico is not their biggest challenge this year, it's got to be one of them for sure. I mean, the thing about Section 2 in the ELL League is. There's really no easy games. I mean, LS was undefeated coming in last Friday night. They're going to have
Cedar Crest is undefeated.
Cedar Crest is undefeated right now. Garden Spot has Cam Roth, who's a threat on offense. Solanco is going to be better, I'm sure. Who else is in there? E-Town is better.
Yeah, their defense is pretty good.
Yeah. So, it's hard to tell. I would think that Manheim Central should certainly be a contender, and then once you get to district playoffs, anything can happen there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good teams in the district playoffs. Obviously,
Right.
we know Harrisburg is looming there, and they certainly would love some payback for what happened. Again, now I don't know how that game would shake out because Harrisburg is still really, really good.
Yeah.
Let's switch over to Warwick football. They had all kinds of high expectations coming into the season after they went to the playoffs last year for the first time in a very long time.
Right.
And had a quarterback transfer in Grayson Klein. So kind of, what do you think of the way they've played so far this season?
Yeah, for Warwick, their defense has been their Achilles heel so far. They gave up 56 points to Wilson. They gave up 42 points to Garden Spot, and they're going to need to find a way. They're going to need to find some answers there, especially with teams like Township and Hempfield looming there.
And even CV, technically.
Right, exactly. So they're going to need to find some answers on defense. Grayson Klein, their quarterback, was hurt against Wilson, and he's done for the season.
I know. I heard that news. That just made me, just so sad for that kid.
Yes, absolutely. He was having a great year, and he's a really good kid. I've been able to talk to him a few times, and I've enjoyed talking to him. And but Adam Ricketts is going to step in now, and Adam Ricketts is very athletic, and he'll do a good job for him. I think what you might see with Adam Ricketts is, he's you might see a little bit more of the way things ran with Tyler Tomarchi last year, with rolling out and just
a little more mobile.
Him using his leg. Not that Grayson couldn't run either, but I think that's what you'll see from Adam. So we'll see. They'll get a test from Lebanon this Friday, and hopefully they can pass that test.
Well, it's nice that I'm sure that they have that test first, and then they hit the Hempfields and the Manheim Townships, so it kind of can get things worked out.
Yeah.
I guess it's different now, but what would the outlook have been? Now because they were looking to get into the playoffs, we're going to have to finish that season really nice, and now. How do we see them kind of trending now?
Yeah, well, they can't afford to lose too many more if they want to get into districts.
Yeah.
So again, I think a lot will hinge on their defense. If they can find some answers on defense, then hopefully they'll have a shot. But we'll see.
And they are in 6A, so 6A. It definitely has some steep competition in with the Wilsons and the Cumberland Valleys and the Central Dolphins and Manheim Township.
Right.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on those guys. We'll stay at Warwick, and we'll talk about their girls volleyball team, because last year their girls volleyball team won the Section 1 title and the league title for the first times ever, and
Right.
in doing so, they beat Hempfield, several times for the first time, as far as I know, ever.
3 times.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, what's kind of their season outlook? I mean, I know they're playing okay. They did lose to Hempfield the first time around. What can we expect from that squad? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they have to be very encouraged with how their season is going. They lost 3-0 to Hempfield. That was a battle of unbeatens in Lidditz last week or 2 weeks ago, and I think the score was didn't really tell the whole story. Warwick was right there in game 2. If they had pulled that one out, then maybe that's creates a little bit of a different story in that one too. But they lost a couple of big guns from last year.
did.
Riley Durr and Jana Klass and Jensen Bernheimer.
Yeah.
And Jana and Jensen are both at LVC, and Riley, of course, is playing basketball at Kutztown. So those were great athletes they had last year. They still have nice athletes. I know a lot of them played club ball in the off season, and Maddie Glauner, Mackenzie Cassette, Haley Miller. They have a lot of athletes that to still build around right now. And I think they're going to be okay. They're going to. They'll be back in the league playoffs, and I'm sure they'll be in district playoffs, and again, anything can happen. I think Hempfield's probably a step above them right now. With Hempfield's got some more veteran players than what Warwick does, but you got to be excited about how Warwick looks.
Yeah, I was listening to the intros for Hempfield, and it had like senior, junior, seniors. It was pretty impressive. So yeah,
Right.
they certainly do have the athletes to do it this year. Coach Bob Durr for the field hockey, how long's he been there?
35 years, I think.
Okay, so he's
Yeah.
been there longer than you've been.
Yeah.
How fun has it been to cover his coaching career?
Oh, well, I mean, 3 state champions, and
Yeah.
how many district champions, and year in and year out, they're going to be, they're going to be one of the top teams. So, it's been a lot of fun. Coach Durr is always has his girls ready to play, and I'm sure we'll hear from him yet this year.
Well, and one plays on the U.S. Olympic team, Alyssa Manley.
Yes.
So I'm sure he just loves that
Absolutely.
little feather in his cap.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I've run through the questions there, so we hit that up pretty good.
All right.
That was some full court press that we had there. Always great chatting with you, and yeah.
You as well.
We'll let you go.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you so much. Thanks
You
for
bet.
coming on in.
You bet.
All right. Well, if you want to see what Bruce is up to, you can, of course, always check out his work in the Lidditz Record every week. You said that comes out on Wednesday, right?
Yes, subscribers get it Thursday,
Oh.
but it's on the newsstands Wednesday.
Cool. Or you can follow him at Bruce Morgan 8, right?
Correct.
I had that correct.
Yep.
Okay. And as always, feel free to tweet me at News 11 Sports. But that is our show for today. Thanks for everyone to watch another episode here of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Chad Landers, and I'm sure we will have more to talk about next time.